Well, global temperatures are on track to increase by more than twice the internationally agreed limit by the end of the century. That's according to the UN's latest emissions gap report, released ahead of climate talks in Madrid next week. The report compares where greenhouse gas emissions are heading against where they need to be. The UN says more ambitious reductions in carbon emissions are needed to meet the goals of the 2015 Paris Accord, or the world risks climate and economic chaos. The UN says temperatures are expected to rise by 3.2 degrees Celsius based on current carbon reduction commitments. The Paris Agreement's goal is to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Nations will have to slash emissions by 7.6% each year until 2030 to hit the Paris target. Carbon emissions account for 2/3 of global heating. Now, emissions reached record levels last year. The US, China, Japan and Brazil were identified as big emitters that have fallen short of their promises to go clean. Russia and Turkey, meanwhile, have met their targets. Well, we spoke to Nicholas Hagelberg, who's the climate change coordinator at the UN Environment Programme. He told us more about the report and what adjustments countries need to make to limit global heating.
We're heading for an average global warming of 3.2 degrees, which is a temperature that the Earth has not experienced for almost 3 million years. This is a major change in how Earth operates. So you can liken that to if a person has a fever that is 3.2 degrees higher than your normal temperature, that could be life-threatening for some people. In terms for countries to maintain the target of reducing emissions by a little bit more than 7% every year, we have to take a full society-wide approach. So we have to have progress across the energy sector, across the industries, across transportation and so forth. In terms of the energy sector, the government should now stop financing fossil fuels. So subsidies for fossil fuels should be moved and transferred over to investment into renewable energy, into energy efficiency. And governments can put on a carbon price and invest into energy efficiency at the national level. In terms of transportation, for example, governments can support mass mobility, so public transportation, invest into skylines, into subways and bus lanes and so forth. Governments can also invest into the transition to electric vehicles, so support that one. And on food systems, for example, where it's fairly easy to actually reduce emissions, we can make changes to our diets, and we can actually even reduce our emissions up to 80% from the food sector.